Welcome to the podcast. Most people don't, but you do.
Thank you.
Frank, it's fun. We have conversations about people that do, people that take action. So it's not just people that played tennis D1 in college. It's not just people that got into fitness. It's not just people that started, I want to make sure I'm getting this right, bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It's not just people, it's not just people that think it would be cool to be an entrepreneur and start companies and help people, but it's people that actually do. And that's why, Frank, I'm excited to be able to speak with you today.
Thank you.
Frank Guengerich.
There's a lot of silent letters in that name.
I almost wish I hadn't looked at it, Frank. Frank is the president and chief executive officer of Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle Services, also known by HWLS. He's been involved not only truly as a Division I tennis player, not only as an entrepreneur, not only as starter of companies, D1 tennis, national championship, certified pro. There's so many things.
Bart. I'm old.
Yeah. Bodybuilding champion in the 55 plus classic physique. I was going to guess 35 plus.
Oh no, I would get smoked in that age.
Anyway, thrilled and want to give a little shout out to Lizanne Brandt, who did the introduction.
Yep.
Anyone that Lizanne introduces me to is going to be a superstar. So Frank, thank you for chatting with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. And yeah, Lizanne's a long-term friend and known her for over 20 years. She's amazing. So thank you.
Yeah. And Frank, what I enjoy about this conversation is that not everyone has access to you in your current role, the founder of a company, the president and CEO. But what this does, this platform allows a lot of different people to learn from our conversations. So, Frank, eventually we will get to what HWLS does as a company, but my primary focus is to get our listeners to know more about you and what motivates you. It sounds like being an athlete was very important to you all along, but can you tell us about growing up and what were some of the influencers that led you to be who you are today?
My father, a couple of big influencers. My father was always an entrepreneur, and comes to reason that both my brother and I are both serial entrepreneurs. My dad was a self-made man, and my mom I grew up with my mom having multiple sclerosis. So I grew up in a family with a disability. So those two things, I think, profoundly influenced me throughout and still do throughout my life. Both of them have passed. But I grew up in Amarillo. My father, at a young age, had an opportunity to start up an ambulance service back when ambulance services were privatized. They were in partnership with funeral homes. My father had an opportunity to do that. He was more in Iowa and in Oklahoma, Kansas, and we ended up in the Panhandle of Texas, Amarillo. And that's where I grew up, watching my dad bang away day to run a company and my mom helping support him and dealing with her disability. Probably about middle school, I was playing all sorts of sports. I love sports, playing football, baseball, the Texas kind of stuff. And I found out that there was a tennis camp going on during the summertime when I was, I think, 7th grade. And my mom was looking for me to do something. And I had a friend that was going to the tennis camp and went to the camp and fell in love with the game, just fell in love with it. Started playing tennis, just really that became my sport, and had a lot of success early on, and had a great coach that moved to Amarillo from Houston that really helped elevate my game, and just had some success, made it to the state championship and ended up playing Division I.
Wow. All right. Very cool. And Frank, I want to back up just a bit.
Sure.
Your father privatized ambulance business.
Yep.
It is starting off Midwest and then moved Southwest Texas area.
Yep.
And tell me the component you had referenced with funeral homes. Was it in tandem or?
So back before, now they're all part of the public system, ambulance services. So the fire department. But back then, this was many years ago, back then ambulance services were privately owned and they were generally in partnership with funeral homes. And so my father was in partnership with a couple of funeral homes in the area. Mm-hmm. But the ambulance services were all individual and they ran on their own. They got paid by the people that used them. They usually had contracts with hospitals. But it was a little bit of a Wild West back then because there was no cell phones and
Yeah.
You had to wait for the dial phone call for someone to get you. A lot of it was CB radios and stuff with the police officers. But yeah, that's how we started out. My dad grew the business and throughout Oklahoma and Texas and New Mexico, and ended up with, I think, maybe a dozen different ambulance services.
And do you know how he came up with that idea?
He was, as a young man, when I say young, he was 17, 18, 19 years old, just got hooked up as a driver of a local ambulance service and just really enjoyed it, got passionate about it, did well, worked hard, got moved up. And next thing you know, as a young man, he was the general manager of an ambulance service in Wichita, Kansas. And that's where he really cut his teeth. And then he had the opportunity come to him for the location in Amarillo. And so he left everything and moved.
Incredible. And did it seem that he was working all the time when you were growing up?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My dad definitely, he always made time for us. We had paper routes and he would be there to help us. And he'd always have our lunch money ready for us. But my dad worked hard.
Working hard.
Yeah.
And then your mother, was she a stay-at-home mom, if I may ask?
She's a nurse, but during my life, she was diagnosed with MS when I was pretty young. And so she really just helped my dad. She was a dispatcher, occasionally would write a call, but really stayed home and helped my brother and I and raised us.
Yeah. And all these questions that I'm asking, Frank, it leads us to the entrepreneur spirit. And even looking years ago, how did people start something that thought that it was a great business idea? And I love that, Frank. Your father, tell me your father's name.
Luane,
yeah. Okay. God rest his soul. And your mom?
Donita. Two good midnight names.
Okay. But thinking about them, 16, 17 years old, driving an ambulance and then having an opportunity to work hard and then start it, just was something that most people that were listening right now probably don't even know, as you had referenced, that ambulances started off as private companies. And who knew that they had a relationship with funeral homes? It all makes sense. And I'm wondering, Frank, seeing with your mother, sadly, with MS, and seeing who your father was servicing, picking up people that needed medical attention, do you think those things combined, and your mother being a nurse, do you think that directed you into the fitness world?
100%.
Tell us more.
Isn't that interesting? And that you would make that connection that fast. Absolutely. I think it's that sort of that altruistic thing that I don't know that's a gene, but just that altruistic thing that you see as you grow up and see people needing help. And that, I think, was just so easy for me. I just naturally gravitated to that. Health and fitness for me has always been just a passion. I never thought in a million years I would be 61 years old and having made a career in this business. To me, I look back and think it's remarkable that I was able to raise and put two kids through college and now have grandkids, and that I made a living doing this. But it wasn't because I thought, oh, this is an area that I'm going to make a bunch of money. I've done well, but it's the reality of it is it's just something that I just started out. People say to me all the time, how do you start a career? And I said, I didn't have this mapped out. There was no mapped out thing. It was just where my passion was. It was just a natural thing. I love sports. I loved helping people. And I just got into it quickly and just stayed in. Never wanted to do anything else. I had opportunities to do other things and make more money. And I just said, no, this isn't. And even now, I still have those opportunities. And I have no interest in that. I'm going to finish my career through all the way doing what I do because I love it.
You bring up two really interesting points, Frank. And I would say this is episode 190.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I shared with you before we hit record, consistently top 2 to 5% in the world.
That's
because
fantastic.
we get good people. And I believe we ask them good questions in ways that are meaningful to our listeners. But I need to share with you, out of at this point, 190 people that I've talked to, including you, I would say 99.9% of them do what they do for a living, not for the money, but because they want to help people.
Yeah.
Like overwhelming. And I think that's who I'm attracted to. Just like Lizanne knew I would connect with you immediately because of good people.
Yeah.
And that's so rare. And in your career, have you seen people that would chase the dollar and perhaps not be successful? So what advice would you have for our listeners?
I've been put in spots where I've learned that lesson the hard way in the health and fitness business, where what's the saying that love people and use money, don't use people, and love money. And I live by that. And I live by that because I've actually had situations where I was unhappy, but was being paid very well. Now in the health and fitness business, but still unhappy. I really do believe that you have to be passionate and love your work, and the work has to be really gratifying. But there's more to it than that. You have to love the people around you, and just as much. And then, of course, the money has to be there too, and you have to be making a contribution. And I think when those things all jive, you love the people that you're around, you love your customers, love your boss, your leader, and the people that you work with, your colleagues. And I've had situations where that wasn't the case and was really unhappy. I will never do that again, and never just for the money. And I've seen it happen. You see it happen, Bart, all the time. And it's sad. So you only get one shot at it, my friend.
That's it. That's it. And I'm a little younger than you, but not much. But
Yeah.
that's the lesson that I have learned as well.
Yeah. Good lesson.
I loved what I was doing in the hospitality world. I worked with some great people. And then sadly, Frank, and our listeners don't need to hear the story again, but about 7 years ago, I had a heart attack during routine nose surgery.
Yeah.
And that changed my thinking of not going to be here forever. What do I want to do? And in my world, I was able to help Ritz-Carlton hoteliers because I worked for Ritz-Carlton.
Yep.
I was able to help the salespeople. I was able to help the customer. But then I began to realize there's a lot more companies that need help. There's a lot more people that need to hear good motivational messages and encouragement and storytelling so they can remember and they can feel better, to get better, to do better. And pandemic hit. And I was like, talked to my wife. I said, I'd like to do this full time.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's a pandemic. You want to be a full-time motivational speaker? Yeah. And we did everything. And now, Frank, she works with me full time. And business has exploded because we're helping people. We're not chasing a dollar, helping people, and the dollars come. So thank you for sharing that about your story.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Division I tennis player.
Yep.
Phenomenal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not about me, but I played Division I volleyball for a little bit at Penn State.
Wow.
So I have great appreciation for anyone that plays in sports. So well done. As soon as you graduated college, is that when you became pro?
Yeah. So I was playing some professional tennis on and off. I realized that I wasn't going to make a living back then. You really needed to be in the top 100 in the world. And I realized I wasn't going to make a living doing that. And so I started teaching tennis. So I would do a combination of teaching tennis. And I saw an ad back when there were magazines, tennis magazines, in the back of the tennis magazine for an advertisement that said, world-class company seeking world-class instructors applied. It was a company called Washington Tennis Services. And so I applied and started working and teaching tennis with Washington Tennis Services, which became a company called WTS International. And that's where I spent the majority of my career, and actually where I met Lizanne, became a business partner with the founder, Gary Hinken, who's still a very close friend of mine. Talk to him as much as I can, and my number one mentor. And so that's how I got into that. And it happened to be that there was a club in Kentucky that wanted to have a really big tennis program, but that also wanted to do some other things with tennis and swim and so forth. And so they hired me as a very young general manager because I was a good tennis player, and I taught tennis, and I became a health club manager when I think I was 22 or 23, and learned out of the gate with a great mentor, Gary, helping me, and just a bunch of good people along the way. And a great owner, a guy named Dr. Bill Godfrey was the owner, was amazing, still is an amazing man. And that's how I started in the health and fitness business. Ended up moving to Washington, D.C. to start working with Gary in Washington, D.C. in the health and fitness business. And then it just went from there.
What a gamble that someone took on you.
Oh,
here you are, this young kid.
I would have never hired me. Yeah. The fact that Gary hired me, the fact that I think it's because they couldn't find anybody else. But
what did you study at Indiana?
Psychology.
Okay.
When I went to Indiana, my mom said, you have to promise me you get a degree. And she didn't want it to be in physical education. And so when I got there, I said, what's the easiest degree I can get? And it can't be physical education. And they said psychology. And I said, that sounds great. And I love it. I use it every day. Yeah. I love using psychology. So
yeah, how fortuitous that was what you chose to be in. I love that story because you weren't a business major. No. I don't think you never graduate degree. You didn't go to XYZ. You went to a great school.
Yeah.
But here all of a sudden someone sees you and they're like, okay, here's this tennis pro. What do you think they saw in you, Frank, at 22 or 23 to say, I'm going to take a gamble on this kid?
Yeah, I think I don't know, maybe just sincerity and just the, I think being a Division I athlete, his kids, Dr. Godfrey was really the one that made the ultimate decision. I had been working with Gary some and was a very high producer for him as a tennis pro. So he knew I could get it done on the court. I would teach morning till night, and I had good client feedback. I think in the case of Dr. Godfrey, his kids were all swimmers and Division I athletes, and I think he had an appreciation for that. And we just hit it off when we met. He's a very kind man, and I am too. And I think we just really gelled.
Did you think that you were a leader? Here you are, an individual contributor, tennis, and maybe you were playing doubles once in a while. All of a sudden, you're thrust into leadership. Did that come naturally to you?
Yeah, it did. I felt that I was a leader early on. I received the Balfour Award at Indiana for being team captain, and always being around. Again, this sort of comes back to my dad and just seeing that and being part of that. So yeah, I always wanted to be in charge. Always wanted to be, and my kids are that way too. Imagine that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
And what do you think? You had mentioned kindness, always being a good person, a kind person.
Yeah.
What other attributions do you think you have that make you, I'm going to say, a great leader? Because you're very successful. That doesn't always correlate, but I'm going to go with the assumption that you're a good person, you're a great leader. What else do you bring to the table as a great leader?
Yeah, thank you. Everything I've done, I've learned from somebody, whether it's my father, my mom, or my brother, or some of the great mentors I've had. I've had some really great mentors, not just Gary, but others. And I've gravitated towards those. And I've had some bad ones. And very quickly I get out of that because I can tell that they're not where I want to be. I think certainly empathy is really important. I think reliability and rigor, I think, are key things. I think they have to know and believe that what you say you're going to do, you do. And they have to understand that you're not only going to require that everyone has a level of responsibility. And if they don't have that level of responsibility, they won't be on your team. But they also enjoy accountability. And I really separate those two words very distinctly. I think responsibility is a gift that you give yourself, and accountability is an organizational phenomenon. And I live by that credo. And so I'm seeking people that are responsible, that I know that they give that gift, that they're going to be reliable, dependable, and they're going to do what they say they're going to do, and that they love and enjoy a system of accountability. And that's how the team works. Yeah. And so they know that they're going to be rewarded and that there's going to be consequences either way with accountability. So yeah, those are some of my core values.
Yeah, responsibility and accountability. And going back to the name of our company, Frank, and it started, I wrote a book called Most People Don't and Why You Should. And it was designed not to be a negative statement, but it was designed to, I was also a recruiter for Ritz-Carlton for a little bit. And what I was trying to come up with was, what advice can I give that is very easy to remember for these college students that I'm trying to recruit? What's simple? And I said, okay, most people don't, but you do. Name of the podcast. Most people don't, and why you should.
Yeah.
Most people don't, and why you could. So all of these different things, and realizing that when you do what most people don't do in a job setting environment, you are going to, one, get the job if you're interviewing. Two, you're going to be regarded better. Three, you're going to have better relationships if you do what most people don't do. Personal as well, grandkids as well. It doesn't matter. Friendship as well. Do what most people don't do, which aligns perfectly with this responsibility and accountability. Frank, why do you think some people don't?
Laziness. Maybe they haven't been put in the environment where they've seen the rewards from it. Entrepreneurship specifically, but really any leadership position, isn't about immediate gratification. And the sooner that you realize that it's about establishing a goal and chasing that goal. And when you start to win, it takes one big win, right, Bart? And whether it's a bonus, whether it's a victory as a team, then you realize that delayed gratification, that the hard work, working in silence, and working hard in silence for that goal and knowing that you can achieve that goal, that requires confidence. And as you get to win those small wins, you gain confidence. I think maybe I got it from just even in tennis, starting out as a very average player and then being able to win and advance and being able to get to a regional level and advance in the national level and being able to elevate. And all that happened because I was going to the tennis center at 9 o'clock at night on a ball machine and hitting 500 tennis balls when there was no one out there, just me and 10 tennis courts with the lights on, and seeing that delayed gratification.
Rigor.
I think it's that, Bart.
Yeah. And I'm going to insert the word. So I didn't mean to interrupt, Frank.
No.
Rigor.
Rigor.
You going to hit balls when no one else was around.
Yeah.
And no, this is not about me, but Saturday and Sunday, I went to a coffee shop and I got so many things done. And other people were there doing fun things, but I was doing something fun too. I was working on the business that my wife and I have.
Yeah.
And so that part feels really good. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
When you were talking, Frank, about, I want to get to starting your own business.
Yes.
When did you start? I'm looking at the screen. I want to make sure I get all the words right. Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle Services, HWLS. How many years ago did you start your own company?
About 2 years ago. And I've had other companies, but this one about 2 years ago. And I came to Texas. I was an owner partner in WTS International. And in 2018, that company was acquired by a private equity company. And so I had an opportunity to come to Texas and become the president of a hospitality company and a lifestyle company. And so I did that and came here and helped build a company. We had a large athletic facility that was very successful. We made it successful. The COVID, I think, really spooked the principal owner, and he had a lot of companies very successful. And we chatted it out. We were going to scale the company, do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these really beautiful luxury facilities. And really, he decided to back off. And I understood why. And I decided that the best thing for me to do was do what I knew the best, which is what I was doing at WTS as Chief Operating Officer and Business Partner. It's to start HWLS. And so that's what I did.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. And congrats on your success of what you're doing. And I would love for our listeners to understand a little bit more and talk about, meant to be this conversation.
Yeah.
A few days ago, I picked up a book, and I'm not going to get the title right, and it's not right in front of me, but do you know the name Alex Hormozi?
Yeah.
Okay. I started his business with his wife.
Yeah.
Can't remember her first name. That's really bad. So we're not going to tag them in this. But they started, correct me if I'm wrong, but they started by how to market health club facilities.
Yes.
And they came up with what they believed was a winning approach, a winning offer. And now he has books, and he and his wife, it'll come to me in a moment, have this company called acquisition.com. Anyway, I've been listening to it because he talks about having this offer that is irresistible. And if if a customer doesn't accept this offer, they're going to feel silly. So it's really interesting things. And I'm learning a lot about entrepreneurship from him.
Yeah.
And I want to tie that back to you in a moment, because it doesn't seem that the health and fitness world is always an easy world, even though it's important, even though it's really beneficial and it's critically important. What can you share with us? So everything from Town Sports International to Solera Health Club and Spas to WTS to Williams Group Holdings. What can you tell us based on your opinion? I know this is what you all are helping customers do. What makes a successful health and fitness club? What is one thought?
If we're talking strictly commercial, because there's a bunch of different types of clubs out there that I work with. Some are nonprofit, some are residential, hospitality, Ritz-Carlton. But if you're talking commercial, the first thing that you have to do is make sure you set your finances and your capital side up correctly, that you're not overspending on building if you're building or leasing or just moving into your space, and just really making sure that you have the right rent structure, right debt service ratios, right out of the gate, right location. That's really important. And then obviously, big mistake I see over and over again is not having enough cash reserve and enough capital to really be able to get through sort of those initial stages. People run out of capital too quickly. And then obviously very important is just having that USP, having your compelling story behind whatever it is that you're selling, because there's so many different franchises and brands out there.
Yeah.
They're all trying to be as loud as they can in terms of why they are what they are. So being loud with your message and your story and being really clear. I'm leaving tomorrow, as a matter of fact, Bart, I'm working on an amazing project with some amazing owners. It's going to be, I'm not going to talk about it,
Yeah.
but it's going to be so amazingly unique worldwide
Right.
in Las Vegas. The team we've assembled are remarkable. And our story and our USPs, as a matter of fact, we're going to be spending the next 3 days blowing it out further, is going to be really compelling. So I think that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for those that might not be in the selling world, USP.
Oh, sorry. Unique selling proposition.
Yes.
Sorry.
Perfect. No, thank you. Yeah. And I'm excited for you. I'm excited to hear what's next. And we will make sure that our listeners are following you and connecting with you and doing everything else.
Yeah.
My takeaway from what you just shared, it's that someone has a great idea for a club, for a private club, for a not-for-profit club, for a public club, whatever the case is. And we can talk country clubs. We can talk about spas. We can talk about clubs associated with hospitality companies. But what I learned from you is have your business aspects in order. You don't just come up and create a club because you want to do good. You have to do the business part of it, the right location, the right funding, the right capital, the right expenditures, the right people. And then, right, once the foundation is there, of course, what makes you unique and special and different?
Yeah, it's in that order. And it's sad, it's unfortunate. And I have situations too often over my career where I get a phone call from someone who's just got their heart put into their business, their health and wellness business, spa, you named it, could be a medical, it doesn't matter, medical wellness, has their heart into it, got a great concept, just did not understand the business aspects of it. So I'm trying to help them unwind it. They just got themselves into, they might have just built too big of a place for themselves and their debt structure is too big, their rent's too big. So yeah, you got to make sure that you understand the business aspects of it first. And then if you've done that, then the business is clear, then you win almost every time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's bringing up a couple of thoughts and I'll share with you and our listeners very quickly. My wife has a membership to something called Class Pass. Are you familiar with it?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And she loves it because we are traveling as part of our business. And if we're in Austin, Texas, she can do a class here. If we're in Las Vegas, she can do it in Los Angeles. It doesn't matter where we are.
Great concept.
And so she encouraged me to try it out. So when I was looking for a health facility in the DC area, Northern Virginia, not too far from you, I decided to try ClassPass to try a couple different places. And everyone had thought that this one place was great. It had been around for a long time. I went there and it was dirty. And they didn't make me feel comfortable. It wasn't, the weights were fine. The equipment was fine. But I didn't want to hang out there. It was dark, it was dingy, and it was dirty.
No.
And the people. Couldn't do it. And
this business really isn't that hard. It really isn't that hard. You have to have friendly people.
Yeah.
And you have to be clean. And you have to keep your equipment working.
That's it.
Those three things sound easy. But they sound easy, but you have to be overwhelmingly dedicated to the fact that is going to be something that you're just not going to compromise on.
No.
You're going to have friendly people. When people walk in, it needs to be a welcome, like it's your long lost brother that you haven't seen in 2 years. Bart, make them feel real. But not fake, like people that genuinely love seeing people, genuinely love people. Keep the place immaculately clean and keep your equipment working.
Yeah. And now you'll laugh at this, Frank. I go to this one club. I guess I can give this shout out, right? It's my podcast, Method Health Club in Ashburn, Virginia.
So Al Nashirvani just texted me, the owner of that company, literally just texted me. He's a very close friend. and Andy Stromberg is the president of the company, a very close friend, Bart. I've been around. I know the people.
Yeah.
And I was just at that club with Al and Andy about 3 months ago with my Rex Roundtable group. Love it.
My gosh. Yeah. And I had the pleasure meeting Andy. So let me just share you some compliments to them. They have water, and in the water, it's always full and it's always cold. And they take the time to put orange slices in the water and the watermelon in the other section of water. The towels are always there and they're always clean and there's always enough towels. And it has gotten to the point where, and this is relatively new for me to have the membership there because we have been traveling so much. I like going there. I went there almost every single day for the last week and a half. I will often work there. I'll exercise.
You got that area right in the front?
Yeah, yeah, and it's bright and it's
Yeah.
clean and it's airy and I have more water and I sit and I crank and I could take a conference call and do a
Yeah.
webcast, whatever. But I don't want to necessarily leave there because it's clean. I can jump in the sauna. I
Yeah.
can take a shower. It's just pleasant.
Yeah.
So thank you for for approving
Yeah.
and just discussing. And the same with our listeners, Frank. Everything from hospitality people to entrepreneurs to CEOs of there's a wide variety of folks that are listening to this.
Yes.
And the takeaways, again, there's a couple of basic minimums that what you need to do in order to be successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, cleanliness, of course, capital flow, venture investors. Yes. You need to have the processes. Yes. But it's the people, right? It's the
Really
people
important.
also.
Really
Make you
important.
feel.
And taking good care of those people and paying them well, keeping them around. That
Yeah.
institutional knowledge is so valuable, and making sure that those people stay with you and it's the same friendly, smiling faces. And that shows the culture too of the organization when they retain good people. Now, if they retain bad people, that also reveals the culture. You you have to have zero tolerance for the expectations that you have. There has to be consequences, good and bad, for the expectations that you have. That's why Ritz Carlton is such an extraordinary brand.
Yeah.
People come to know, Bart, they come to know that you are going to be relentless on your expectations.
Yeah. And it goes back to accountability,
Yep.
responsibility,
Yep.
and diving deeper into the human element, the rigor of the people that want to care and show they care, that are doing things for the right reasons.
Yeah. And your leadership has to care also.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Frank, last question for you.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot. We were talking about unique selling points or selling, what was the term, the P that you used? Proposition.
Yeah.
HWL services.
Yep.
First of all, what do you do? That's the first question. I'll pause. What do you do?
Yes. So we're a boutique company by design. I don't want my company to be a large company. I've been in very large companies, 3,000 employees, hundreds of locations, multiple times, publicly traded, privately held, private equity groups. My company is a boutique company, and I want it to stay that way. And I have a limited number of clients, and I only like to work with clients that are really seeking that kind of private attention that can get me whenever they need me. But what we do is we're a management consulting company. So we do design consultations, needs analysis, feasibility. We do operational consulting and management. And we do it for a limited number of groups. We do it in the health and fitness group world. And then also we have a medical wellness company. So one of the things I've been doing for quite a long time is working in that space. And now it's become the new thing for everybody. It's not new for me. So the introduction of GLP agonists with like the Ozempics and medical weight loss, peptides, IVs. So we're using nutraceuticals, in some cases pharmaceuticals, to help support people in their health and wellness journey. But just to support them, we really need people to make those lifestyle and behavioral changes. And so we use those things to kickstart that. So we're a boutique management consulting company.
And what would you say your USP is?
That we give them individual attention, that we're very privatized. And then the other thing is, I would say, is our track record. We have a long-standing, strong track record of winning. And so when people go and they look at our results, they realize that they're going to win. We're no different in terms of the services that we provide. It's the winning record that we have and the ability to really give people special attention.
Yeah. Fantastic. I want to share your website for everyone, so they can, if they have interest, if they know of a facility, of a lifestyle facility, of a club that is looking for some assistance, it is hwlservices.com. Frank, I want to make sure that I'm spelling your last name so they can also look you up on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Guengerich, President and Chief Executive Officer, HWLS. You do a lot of great things all around the country. You are putting groups together. You are speaking. You're helping people because you believe that is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You touched upon this, but I always like to ask my guests, fill in the blank. Most people don't blank.
Yeah, I think we did touch on that, but most people just don't do the work in silence. That's one of the things that I always remind myself every day is to do the work. Don't be lazy, and to do the work and pursue the goals. And you can't pursue those goals if you're not passionately committed to those goals. So most people don't allow themselves to be passionate towards something and do the work.
And sometimes, and I love that statement, Frank, I wonder why people do not necessarily take action. And I've come up with this theory after doing this full time for 7 years and just really drilling in the thought and the research behind most people don't. Yes, there is the fear factor, but often there haven't been enough consequences to not doing.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to
Great
accountability,
point.
right?
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah. There's benefits. There are benefits to doing certain things. You'll hear people like, okay, I don't want to get my blood tested quite yet at the doctor because I ate pizza last week. So they keep on pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off. Why don't you act like you're going to the doctor tomorrow and start eating healthy today? Why don't you act like you're going to the dentist tomorrow and floss today and the next day? And there's just some basic things. We're really trying, and through storytelling, Frank, that's what we do very well. We're able to share it in meaningful ways because people remember the story element. They might not remember all the data and the statistics and the studies, but if you put it into a story, most people will remember.
That's great.
All right.
I love the podcast.
Frank, cannot thank you enough. Thank you for joining us.
Excited.
Frank, HWLServices.com. Look up Frank, see whatever you can assist him with as our listeners. And I can't wait to hear more about what you're doing.
Yeah, let's do it again.